Welcome to the 9642 podcast. This is your host, Mr. Number 9.
And this is The Fool.
Hello, everyone. Me and The Fool here have decided to do a bit of a hypothetical exercise. So we're going to make our all-time 11s of cricket. It's going to be a test cricket all-time 11, but none of it can be professional cricketers. We are picking sportsmen that we know and like, and we're putting them in the order, in the lineup, based on the skills and attributes they've shown in the sport they're famous for, or sports they are famous for, if they're a multi-sport athlete. So it's basically going to do an 11. So
Plus a coach.
Yeah, and the idea is it's going to be a draft. The Fool will start off, and he will pick the first player, and then I will pick a second player. We're going to do the classic lineup: 5 batters, including 2 openers, a all-rounder at number 6, a number 7 who will be a wicketkeeper, and the 4 bowlers. We can decide what they will bowl and explain why we think they're a good fit for that particular style of bowling. The idea is that I cannot pick an athlete that the Fool has already picked, and vice versa. And secondly, if you have picked an athlete from a sport, another athlete from the same sport is no longer allowed to be picked.
Yeah. Just
to make things a bit interesting, we decided for the all-rounder slot, if we were to pick a multi-sport athlete, and it's inherent that you're picking a multi-sport athlete, you're using the fact that they're good at multiple disciplines to be an all-rounder, that the sports that said athlete are famous for or has reached a peak level at are no longer on the table for us to pick. So, for example, if we were to pick the great Jim Thorpe, we would no longer have pentathalon, track and field, NFL, gridiron, basketball, or baseball.
Yeah.
Because he played all 5 of those sports at a very high level for his era. So, yeah, I think, to be fair, even in pentathlon, he was good at all 5 individual sports there, too. So, yeah, that is the situation here. So, just a bit of fun. But, yeah, first pick. You are on the clock, Mr. Fool.
Mr. Fool, I'm on the clock. I thought I'd pick a proven champion for my number 1 pick in the opening slot. Someone who's operated at high levels for 20-odd years now. So I was going with Roger Federer, tennis. To open, I feel that he's got the patience, he's got the longevity, he's got the eye, and he's got the power. He'll play...
And he's also a technician.
He's a technician as well, so he's got good technical game, but can also push tempo if he needs to be, or he can sit back and let things develop if that's needed. So that was my pick for number 1.
In all sorts of courts, like he's won in all 4 Grand Slams as well, so all conditions, opener.
All round
I like that pick. I like it a lot. One of my maybe my favorite tennis player of all time, so I definitely am nodding my head very approvingly when I'm hearing that pick.
Yeah, it's also why I went number 1 there, because I was a little worried that if I left him the second or third, that you might pick him in the first.
I think a really good pick as an opener as well, just because he's prolific. So he's not just an opener who's there to defend, which he can do. He will go out and attack too.
Yeah, exactly.
When the conditions are right.
Yep.
So I will get to pick an opener. So for me, an opener is someone who needs to adapt to conditions and basically be somebody who is able to have a lot of stamina, stay long, concentrate for hours, and be able to switch at a dime when those conditions change. So I am picking 5-time gold medalist Lisa Carrington as my first opener. Nice. She's going to be this the classic short batsman,
Yep.
But lots of power. We know she would just basically hit the ball out of the park, start hitting the ball out of the park if the bowlers got tired after tea.
Yeah.
But she'd keep steady, not get overwhelmed, not be the word I'm looking for, intimidated by the bowlers. She can hold her own.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you. Say, once again, proven performer over a long period of time in tough conditions, and can slog it out and be there at the end, and comes up trumps every time.
Mm.
Yeah. So that, once again, solid pick. Can't fault with that.
Cool. Opener number 2.
On to number 2. Once again, I've gone with a proven performer, someone who's performed over time. I was going to put a bit of a caveat on it, but I was going to go with Tiger Woods, but more particularly early to mid 2000s Tiger Woods. The peak of his career. Couldn't put it
Even
wrong.
if you were to pick Tiger Woods until like 2010, which is a good 15-year career, that's nothing to sneer at. A good 16 majors.
Yeah, exactly.
Including 4 in a row. So he did the Tiger Slam, so all sorts of conditions. Yeah,
exactly.
Great pick.
Yeah, he's saying played all rounds, played everywhere. Once again, got good shot selection. Knows how to, even if he gets into a bit of trouble and things aren't going well, he knows how to get out of it. And plays to those conditions and gets things back on track. I feel that's a good player to have there to be able to attack when need be, once again, and can steady the ship and right a failing thing. And I could see him also being able to bat down through the order as well, like batting with multiple different partners and in partnerships, be able to build those up.
Absolutely. Now, my second opener, I feel like openers set the trend. So basically decide the temperament of the innings, how it's gonna go, and basically they have to carry a bulk of the weight of pressure to see off the new ball, and then and that opening partnership. There's a reason why openers are like a brotherhood. There needs to be this telepathic understanding between the two of them to understand how to pace that innings.
Yeah.
So I am gonna pick N'Golo Kante. Great defensive player, but great all around the park. Not only is he great at defending, gathering the ball, like that skill that he has basically to get the ball off the opposition without causing a foul. That to me is basically the guy who always will be able to get runs, like rotate the strike without taking a risk.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what it reads to me. That that temperament just stays evenly tempered. Would always be there with a smile. Wouldn't care what the bowlers had to say to him. Another short guy, which I like. Once again, for a bat, I think that just means you're going to be really good at playing the short deliveries and all that. And we all know that Kante is not just all defense. He's the guy who gets that first really good pass off to the attackers in both Leicester and Chelsea's lineup. So we cannot underestimate how influential a player is. And like literally every team basically just goes, it's like having another guy. You're playing with 12 when you have Kante.
Exactly.
And I think that's basically what you want from one of your openers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, he's the sort of guy that you notice when he's not on the park. He's not there. Any team he's playing in is instantly worse. They can, depending on the quality of the side, can make up for it, but just there is a noticeable drop in output just by having that one player off the field. So yeah, solid pick at number 2. Alright, my number 3. I've gone to a New Zealand legend for this one. Once again, to me, number 3 is the guy that comes in any circumstance. It could be first ball, it could be way down and end of the first day, second day, any time. So it needs to be someone who's adaptable, can adjust to conditions, has been through everything. So for me, that's Sir Peter Blake. He's sailed the earth. He's gone every tropic down to the roaring 40s. Yep. And also steered New Zealand to America's Cup victories. Won anything he's been in. Just and a top bloke as well. Like, he's also the sort of person that everybody is like, yeah, that's the sort of person we can get him behind and really follow. So he'd also be my pick as captain.
Yep, I could see that mixture of attack and defense from Sir Peter Blake. He was aggressive in his races when he could be, and always took. He's almost like the Ayrton Senna of like match racing, because Ayrton Senna would always say, like, if you can go in, if another driver leaves you room inside and you don't take it to go past him, you're not a racer. You're just a driver.
Yeah.
Like, a racer always takes it. Peter Blake always took it,
Yeah.
Like, he knew when to take it. Like incredible. I really like that pick. Now, I went with a bit of a different thing. Like, I thought about what does a number 3 in the batting order mean? Like, and there's very different approaches. You could be like a great number, I'm thinking people like Rahul Dravid, Cheteshwar Pujara, who are like, and back in the day before he was an opener, Justin Langer, when they were basically like there as a stabilizer at number 3, and very good at it, by the way. And I don't want to diminish Rahul Dravid's ability. He was a damn fine batsman, not just a stabilizing defensive batsman.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking I want my number 3 to be more in the mold of like the GOAT batsman, the batsman who's clearly the best player. And the reason why he's number 3 is because the order just go, we don't want you to open because we don't want you to get out too early, but we want you to bat as much as possible, just because you're gonna turn the tide with your batting alone. So thinking about a number 3 like a Ricky Ponting, or a number 3 like Don Bradman, or a Sachin Tendulkar back when they used to bat number 3, or even like Martin Krobeck when he used to bat number 3 before he just became a run machine, or Kane Williamson, and for New Zealand now. So I'm looking at a GOAT level athlete. So I'm picking the great Kelly Slater.
Oh, nice.
Who is 10-time world surfing champion. Obviously, somebody who knows how to look at conditions, knows when to hold it, knows when to fold, but he definitely will go all in if he can go all in.
Yeah.
And like, that's just the player. He's also the sort of athlete would just be like your team's like icon. Like all the posters of the team would have him in front, even if he's not the captain. Like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
That's who I pick going with.
That's a great pick. I agree with everything you said there. And in fact, that rationale is pretty much what I've applied to the number 4 batsman.
Right.
Through a bit of change, that's how I see the number 4 batsman. Because best batter, they've got a little bit of protection from the new ball because they're not first drop, so you can expect them to be coming in maybe against a little bit more tired bowlers, a little older. They can get their eye on that and then see themselves through and score the big runs. So for me, same thing. It's a GOAT level player. And I had different thoughts about this one. This one went backwards and forwards. I decided on the one which is, to me, one of the best New Zealand sports persons. And I went with Winton Rufer, because to me he defined the 80s football. And
Oceania Player of the Century as well.
Oceania Player of the Century, just blasted out a whole new roadmap for New Zealand players and changed how New Zealand saw itself at football.
Absolutely.
So to me, it was I had to have him in the side.
Yeah. So we've both picked a soccer player. Good choice, definitely. And like, Winton Rufer was also one of the best players in the Bundesliga when he played there.
Yeah.
And a very versatile player as well. I could easily see him be this number 4 who's a really good fielder, might be a good slip fielder as well, might chip in with a few overs. I get that vibe from Winton Rufer.
Yeah, exactly.
So number 4 to me is like the guy who has to get the runs. This is the guy who, the top 3 have worked really hard. They've done the hard yards. They've seen off the new ball. The bowlers are now tired. Get your eye in, get a lot of runs, and then after tea, just go ballistic. I want somebody who's a volume scorer, somebody who just screams that I score. I score points for my team, and so I'm picking Irene van Dijk.
Oh, fair enough.
Because,
Definitely not that says, yes.
Like, in many ways, number 4 in a batting lineup is like the goal shoot in a netball team. Like, the goal shoot has only one job.
Yes.
That is to score goals. The goal attack has other jobs, and everybody else has other jobs. Goal shoot only has one job.
Yeah.
And I dare you to pick anybody who's a better goal shoot than her, ever.
No. I think Irene proved it. Yeah. There's no argument. She is the best.
She was already a GOAT before she started playing for New Zealand, playing for South Africa, and then she played 140. She's the highest capped netballer of all time, so she knows what she's doing. And she has a career scoring rate of 90% over a 20-year career. Like, if you didn't know it was real, you would be thinking I was making up a fake character, fake Mary Sue character for a bad fan fiction.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the level of player she is.
Yeah, it's crazy how good she was. Yeah, and I think it shows that South African netball was a powerhouse while she was there, and then she moved to New Zealand, and South African netball fell away.
And New Zealand netball suddenly overtook Australian netball.
Yeah, exactly. We were competing thereabout, and she started playing for us, and then we were at another level. And I think that says everything about Irene. That is the level she is.
Absolutely.
For my number 5, this is the one I had the hardest time picking. And I always find the number 5...
There's a lot of philosophy that goes behind what does your number 5 batter do?
Yeah.
Because those top 4... we're all going to roughly think the same thing, but it's, your ideology as a team is kind of defined by who is your number 5, almost.
Yeah. So I went backwards and forwards with different options. Would I go for a slightly more attacking player, slightly defensive player, sort of a third idea, like something completely out of the box? In the end, I decided I may as well go a little bit conservative. Though someone who, like Irene, is a point scorer. Has just played a long time, scored all the points, and that is Daniel Carter. I don't know if there's much to say about him. New Zealand rugby player, just almost the best of all time.
Yep.
There's a few other names you can throw into that.
I think for his position, though he's not my favorite All Black in that position, not to say I dislike him, like I think he's a legend, of course.
I agree with you.
But I just like his predecessors more. They're just more my favorites. That's a personal choice. As an Auckland fan, I'll just always like Carlos Spencer more.
Hey,
but I'm not saying Daniel Carter is not better than him.
I'm in the same vein as you. To me, Carlos Spencer, I almost picked him here as well because he has that flamboyance and that greatness. But
you lose nothing by picking Daniel Carter, and the fact that he can win you the game with his boot, he can win you the game with his passing, his vision. He can put by attacking, he can kill you off. If the forwards are having a good game, but if the forwards are having tough, they're getting monstered. He can still save the game for New Zealand by kicking for territory and making sure that he finds the right guy at the right place to throw the passes to. Incredible pick. I like it a lot.
I was always also thought he's the sort of guy potentially, once again, could throw the ball to for a couple of overs around a lunch break to try something out, see if we get something different. Be great in the field. But the end, couldn't go past him.
So I also had a hard time picking my number 5, and I'm still not decided because you haven't picked either of these two players, and I'm just like, dang. I was almost hoping you'd pick one of them, who I was going to pick between. So I want my number 5 to be my captain. I feel like that's almost an ideal spot for your captain to be. He's there to be the leader. He doesn't need to be the best batsman in the team, though often the captain is the best batsman in the team. But so I'm picking a player for the strategic value, but also what they can add as a player. This guy is the strategic heart of the team. He's going to because obviously captaincy is strategy as well.
Yeah.
And but also man management. Somebody who has impressive respect. People walks into the dressing room, nobody can say shit to him because he is the man.
Yeah.
and everybody listens to him. And when he has sure, if the team has a plan and wants to follow through with it, he will do. And sometimes he will contribute to that plan and make sure what it is. But he will be able to change it on the fly as needed.
Yeah,
I think is what you need from your captain. So it was a toss-up for me between obviously Tom Brady and Alfie Langer.
Yeah.
Who I think are the respective goats of their two sports.
Yeah, definitely.
But I have to go with touchdown Tom. I know I love you, Alfie. You're a legend, obviously. And like that, but Tom Brady is a bit more dominant than he is at the NFL level. Like heck, and then he just went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and effectively made a team built around him.
Yeah, exactly.
And got egos in line and knows how to keep them going.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So, have you already picked a captain, or?
Yeah, I had Peter Blake as my captain.
Oh, Peter Blake's your captain. I'm just going to put a quick C here on my notes next to that. All right. Number 6.
Number 6, this will be the first one where you may feel it's a little controversial. I don't know. This is the all-rounder slot. So I went with someone I actually know, I played with. And played school-level hockey with him. And also...
He's also a professional cricketer. He can't be picked.
Not a professional cricketer. Never made it at anywhere near high-level cricket. In fact, his cricket abilities probably better than mine, but not a lot better. But that's why I was going a little bit controversial, but I do know he plays. And that's Blair Hopping, who played many years for New Zealand, the Black Sticks of New Zealand. Gone to Olympics. Once again, played all around the world, played different oppositions, and was a stalwart for the Black Sticks throughout that entire time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know also that he's a great guy.
Yeah. So, I like that pick a lot, and I think he's definitely that all-round game playing anywhere in the park for the Black Sticks, other than a goalkeeper. But, all-rounders don't... we don't count wicket-keepers as all-rounders anyway.
No, exactly.
So now my pick for an all-rounder is a bit left field. There's plenty of multisport athletes, but the problem is you can take out a lot of sports by picking them. So hence why I'm not picking somebody like Jim Thorpe, and I wouldn't be able to pick half the people I want to. I'm not picking somebody like Deion Sanders, who's took the Atlanta Braves to the World Series and won 3 Super Bowls. Not picking Bo Jackson. Not picking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was track and field All-American while being a basketball All-American in college level. So instead, I'm going for somebody who plays a sport that requires you to be really, really good at 2 very, very different disciplines. I am picking the legendary biathlete Ole Einar Bjornadalen.
Wow.
I hope I pronounced his name right, because he's won 13 Olympic game medals, which is the most for any male Winter Olympian ever. And so basically I see him because he's good, so good at both disciplines. I see him as this guy who would just be literally one of those guys who'd be good enough to be in the team for their batting or their bowling.
Yeah.
Like that Imran Khan mold of player. And because he has he would have the temperament to play the long game, like for a test match, because obviously he's a champion level cross country skier.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily need our all-rounder to be an attacking player, because obviously biathletes are not as fast as like actual medal level cross-country skiers, but that's okay. And anybody who can, the idea of the biathlon is you're not as accurate as an actual shooter is in the Olympics, but you're still really accurate after having cross-country skied for so long, which is what you need your bowler to do. So. This is
a great pick, and great reasoning for that as well. And I can say definitely it must be one of the best biathlon people that actually know his name.
Yep, basically that's the thing. It's back in the day when we watched Winter Olympics, we're like, this guy's going to win the medal again, isn't he?
Yeah.
All right. Number 7, our wicketkeeper.
Wicketkeeper. Once again, maybe a little bit of a controversy. I don't know. I'm assuming that you'll go somewhat similar, but I've gone with someone with proven handball coordination and ability, and that is Mr. New Zealand softball, Mark Sorensen. He was New Zealand softball through the 90s and into the 2000s.
Yep.
I don't think New Zealand softball's done anything that hasn't involved Sorensen in some way. So,
yep.
As he's used to the gloves, used to taking the catches, keep it tight and everything, and useful with the bat.
Absolutely. Yeah. So picky go wicket keeper who can bat a bit. So I went with a different sort of energy for my wicket keeper. I feel like the word energy is key here. The wicket keeper in a long day keeps the fielding side enthusiastic and involved, keeps them motivated. They're not always a captain or a vice captain, but they're always a leader in the team. Somebody who stands out and gives the bowlers their advice, makes sure and also keeps the opposition pissed off.
Yeah,
that's their role.
Yeah,
they're meant to annoy people.
The talk game is a big part of wicketkeeper. You've got to have good chat.
So I can't think of any athlete who annoyed me more when we played up against him than George Gregan.
Oh yeah,
I respect him 100% as an athlete, and he is a legend. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, his energy, he's also a guy who can defend and attack, because who can forget that tackle on Jeff Wilson in the last minute?
Yeah.
So definitely can take, do match. I see that as match-saving catches level,
Yeah.
Because at some point it's the clutch gene, and I think we can all agree, I think George Gregan had times, both on the defending side and attacking side, so both as a batter and a wicketkeeper, I think he would have clutch. He would have clutch plays and just be a game changer for the team.
He'll be a game winner for you. And as you say, looking for a player that has the chat game, you go no better.
Yep.
He has that in spades.
Yep.
Alright.
So now we are headed to our bowlers. You can pick what sort of bowler you think they're going to be and and go with that. Ideally, you don't have to, but ideally you should tell us if you think they'd be a spinner or what type of spinner, etc.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've got 2 spinners and 2 fast. Well, a quick and a medium fast.
Same here. By the way, I assume Ole Einar Bjornhald would be one of those, would be like a fast medium.
Yeah.
Fast bowler, somebody who's not the fastest bowler, but can bowl fast and in the right conditions can get the ball to swing, sort of player. Just to clarify, he's not a spin bowler.
Yeah. To me, Blair, so my all-rounder was the medium pacer. He's the Gavin, not quite slow as Gavin Larson, but that sort of medium pacer New Zealand bowler comes in, line and length, holds up the end and really ties up.
We're both almost thinking Chris Kane's level bowler.
Yeah, exactly. But no, my first bowler I'm picking as a wrist spinner because he's deception all the way through. And a little bit of controversy because you may not count this as a sport, depending where you go. But I'm picking the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He can sell anything. And he's a consummate professional and a great athlete.
We didn't make any rules about professional wrestling, so I say we allow it. Also, because Shawn Michaels is a bloody legend. I love this pick. See, I'm when I'm writing down your thing, I didn't even write Shawn Michaels. I just put HBK on the... and of course, he can sell any move, and I just have... I feel like a spin bowler would have a finishing move. I totally see him be a wrist spinner, but... I do think he's lefty, so he's a left-arm wristy.
Well, that's fine with me as well. That doesn't make any difference to me which arm he's bowling with. So, but I think you're right. Yes, he's left arm, so yes, he'd be a left-arm wrist. But yeah, I feel like he's the sort of person who could turn it both ways, would be able to hide his variations super well. But yet the stock standards leg break is going to be almost perfection. And I'd point to his sweet chin music which is a bit of his finisher move, but it hits every time. And he executes it perfectly. And that to me is whilst the wrist spin isn't the finisher move, just the fact that he executes every time it perfectly means that as we've mentioned previously, like a wrist spinner in test, got to have that stock delivery. The leg break's just got to be on point every time. Land where you want to, turn and have large amounts of turn. That to me is
you're gonna love my spin bowler, but my 2 spin bowlers as well, just to let you know. But my first bowler, I'm gonna pick somebody I see as the leader of the attack, somebody who's gonna take the new ball, if I had picked somebody who's gonna be the leader of the pace bowlers in the team, somebody who is like there in all conditions, is always giving people trouble and always like a handful. So I'm thinking like a bowler like a Malcolm Marshall type, somebody you can build an attack around, a Trent Bolt type, yes, or a Tim Southey type. We're lucky to have 2, but somebody you can build an attack around. A Glenn McGrath, like good on all conditions, just always good. So I'm picking Serena Williams.
Oh yes, nice.
So she's a righty, so I assume she would be like a really fast right-handed bowler, like top of the line. Like maybe as she gets older, she'd be dependent more on guile than speed, but she'd still be quick.
Yeah.
Like Richard Hadley was in his late 30s, still quick.
That's the exact comparison I was going to make, and I think that stands up in all ways. She's a Richard Hadley type, quick, will have excellent accuracy and just will look like she's got the ball on the string. It will do exactly what she wants in the places she wants.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm going for my second spin choice. I just went spin, fast.
Fair enough.
That's you may pick one of my fast bowlers, but I'm going to have to deal with that. But I went with can't actually remember. He may also be left-handed, but I feel this player would deem it of the off break, and that is Stacey Jones. Once again, a player who has all the tricks, but at the same time is just excellent defensive and attacking. Adapt to the conditions, understand the opposition, has all the strategic thoughts and can outplay it. Knows what the batter's going to want.
The little general is called a little general for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible. I love that pick. Yeah. Like I couldn't consider him because I had Alfie Langer as one of my choices, and that would have gotten rid of rugby league. But yeah, it was a tough choice between Stacey Jones and Alfie Langer, and in the end, I didn't even pick Alfie Langer. So there you go.
I've just generally when I've had choices like that, Alfie Langer is another one that's clearly that sort of pick. I've just sort of defaulted to the New Zealander more than anything.
Fair enough. So I've decided so I'm also going to show you my spin bowler. I assume he's also right-handed here. In fact, I know he's right-handed because he's been trying to play, but he could use either hand because he's been recently had a finger injury and been playing with his other hand and still kicking ass. I'm talking, of course, about the Viper. So he would be my spinner. If you're talking about a guy who's got plans, and will just try things for shits and giggles. In a test match, I don't think he would do all the little masterpieces, and that would be T20. And this is the Viper. If he was a leg spinner, would be a 3-4 bowler easily.
Definitely.
He would have somebody who looks at analytics, somebody who reads batsmen, knows their play, sees and has a deep knowledge about the game, what type of delivery, how much to spin it, how much to do. Anybody who's seen his micromanaging will know this guy would just have the ball. He would be one of those super accurate leggies who would just constantly be planning things. He'd get hit for a couple of sixes and then get out, and then get a wicket, and then you'd just be like, well, the other batsman's like, what did happen? It would be like this incredible googly, which he hasn't bowled before. He's just like, oh yeah, I just brought this along. It's in my locker.
Yeah,
like,
thought I'd try it out. See what happened. Yes, no, that's a great pick. And I had considered putting the Viper into my lineup at some point. So then I decided against it, but it's definitely a solid pick. And you're right, he has all the tricks to be able to do it. It cannot be faulted, that pick.
Yep.
Well, I get to my number 10, so my fast, and I consider this my out-and-out fast bowler. He's going to be given the new ball. He's going to steam in off the full length and just be lightning quick. I was actually really worried you'd pick him because you actually mentioned him halfway through, well, at the beginning, I think, or halfway through. And that is the late, great Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton Senna, yep.
Ayrton Senna, yeah. Like, he's champion material.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the feistiness that a fast bowler
needs.
Oh,
hell yeah. This would be like, mustachioed level Mitchell Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
That when everybody was scared of him.
Yeah, it'd be coming in 150, 160, short, full, all over the place. It just...
Yep.
You wouldn't be able to know where it was, and yeah, it'd just be crazy. He's the guy I'm throwing the new ball to.
Yeah. So I have decided to pick my baseball player for number 10. I am picking Randy Johnson, who is left-handed and famously had the fastest ball in the major league and this amazing arm that could just keep pitching fast. This guy hated batters. Absolutely hated them. Would swear, get angry, and he had a temper, but whenever he got angry, he pitched better and better. So it's this incredible, 3 times Cy Young winner, is an incredible Hall of Fame talent. So I want a guy who's into his analytics as much as I am, would basically need to have a left arm pacer, just because the modern game knows that that's like a cheat coded test level these days.
Yeah.
Basically, I feel like, and also Randy Johnson had this incredible corkscrew ball, which would get to swing. So he'd basically be a mixture of Trent Bolt's swinging ability with the aggression of Neil Wagner and the pace of Shane Bond.
Oh, nice, yeah. That is a wonderful combination of attributes to have as your fastball. That is crazy good pick.
Now, number 11.
So yes, I've gone with someone who packs a nice punch. A little bit stockier, but is definitely going to is the old adage of bowl the heavy ball. Hits the pitch hard. That sort of thing. I've gone with David Tua. I feel like he's going to really get it stuck in there. Get it up.
And lefty too.
And lefty too. So I get my pretty sure Ayrton Senna was right-handed, so that's a left-right combination for the new ball. And he can keep good full ball, swings away, swings back into the things to keep to make them come forward, and the short ball will be devastating. It'll knock them back. So, and also someone, once again, sparred with the best of them, been to the very top. So has got the big game temperament.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. And he can go the distance, which is also what you want for your left armor there. Now, my final bowler is also a spin bowler. I can't decide what he would bowl, just because he's like it's really difficult to decide how he would decide to approach this. He's got this really keen analytical mind who, he knows how to make somebody lose their morale by giving them a stare at the eye and moving a rook paces forward, and that of course is Garry Kasparov.
Nice.
Considered to be the greatest chess player of all time, probably.
Yeah, maybe Magnus.
Maybe Magnus is. Yeah. Maybe Magnus has something to say about it. And look, I love me Magnus. Don't get me wrong. If you had picked Kasparov, Magnus would have been my guy. But I feel like Garry and Viper, if they needed to go and get the result, they would. I almost because Viper is the guy who tries stuff. He would be like the attacking leg spinner, and Garry would be happy to defend, happy to just bowl the ball on point, and be like, analytics says I should bowl this delivery. That's what I'll do. Like that's the sort of bowler. That's the sort of bowler I think he would be. It would be like having Shane Warne on one end and the great Clary Grimmett on the other. Yeah. So I don't know if Garry Kasparov would do leg spin or off spin. I just know whatever he bowled, it would be deadly.
Yeah. I'm like Murley and bowled both. Just decide at the time which one he was going to bowl. Because he's very adaptable. He knew many different openings. Could play white and black. So I see that. Yeah, maybe off spins is default, but could bowl the leg break as well.
If need be.
If need be, and you wouldn't be losing anything just because he was bowling leg break.
Yeah. So I think that would be the lineup for me. Now, finally, we need a coach. Now, we have, for the coach, the only rule is it can't be a fictional person.
Yeah.
So it can be any historical figure that's ever existed, and you just need to explain why this guy's their coach.
Yeah. So this went through multiple iterations. As I realized the rules around this. So I'm going to go through a couple of the people I was sort of thinking, which were sports coaches. So Graham Henry and Jose Mourinho. That was the first two. And first I was like, how do I fit them in? Because it's rugby and football, but I wanted Winton and sort of wanted Dan Carter. First I dropped Dan Carter and was like, fine, I'll have Sir Graham Henry. I was going to pick maybe Viper, maybe NBL Diaz. That was sort of interesting picks. I had Mark Todd at number 5 as well. Thought that could also work. But then you said, oh no, it doesn't think so. I went, I can go back to Sir Graham Henry. And then you said, any figure in history, as long as it wasn't made up. And the name that first came to mind, which was instant, even before you jokingly said you could even have Julius Caesar, was Julius Caesar. And I was like, if you go to have someone coaching your team, you have the guy fucking made an empire. He went out with his guys and was sent, just basically, we don't like you, go over there. And he took his legions over there and conquered Gaul. And then came back and was like, hey, I conquered Gaul. And everybody went, oh crap, you're going to die. And just, he, strategic level, A++.
And ruthless, that's what you want.
A++. If you're not performing, you're going to get cut. You're going to know it. But the other thing is, you're going to know why. It's not going to be out, you're not playing today. He's going to have exactly everything down, like, this is what you need to improve on, this is where you're weak, this is where things aren't working, this is why you're not here. This other guy, this is where he's doing better, this is how he's showing it. And he's also the guy that people will listen to and will follow.
Yeah.
They will you know what
famously, and he's famously beloved by his men.
Yeah.
The reason why he felt confident coming back to Rome with his army, infamously, is that he knew his men had his back, and they did. And he pushed them through some really tough times, but he still managed to keep things rolling. And he knew how to pick people. Like, when you can get the best out of a guy like Mark Antony, who is a very, he's an incredible general, but one of those guys who's really, really good in a crisis, but terrible when things are going well for him. But Caesar gets the best out of him all the time. Like, that to me is screams good coach.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking as well is that his press game is out of this world. The sort of guy you want, whether it's good times, bad times, things going right, things going wrong, he's the guy you need fronting the press, and he will make sure that everybody's like, okay, things went badly, we had a loss, but the plan's in place and everything's fine in there. And Julius, he knows what he's doing. It's all going to be fine. Everybody's going to still be in love with the team. To me, that's it. As soon as you said historic figure, I was like, oh, there's no choice. Like, there's only one guy.
Now, it's interesting that you picked Julius Caesar, because the first person I thought is a man, because when Julius Caesar's great successor, Augustus, who's also basically an isekai character,
Yes.
First went to join his famous great uncle in Spain for campaign. One of his friends went first because he got there quicker, and he was there for a few weeks. And before Octavian showed up, and the moment Octavian showed up, Julius was like, "You have good friends. Make sure you keep them." This man is Marcus Agrippa. So it was somebody who didn't come from much, but everybody just recognized his talent, which is just what tells you in that era where status and background are so important. That just shows how talented he was.
Yeah.
And like to catch the eye of somebody like Caesar, who also thought Octavian was incredible, which he was right about.
Yeah.
So somebody who knows how to spot talent. So, and Agrippa is famous for being Augustus's general, because Augustus was terrible at leading troops and fighting and just bad in combat all around. But Agrippa was the brave soldier who got the guys together. He basically formed Augustus's soldiers by going out and recruiting them and convincing them to join and training them up for him, which to me, coaching, training.
Yeah.
Then they had a problem with pirates, and they needed, during the initial War of the Successors, so he needed to figure out how to deal with the pirates. Unfortunately, they didn't have ships, so he literally went to a library, read up on how to build ships, and how to captain said ships, and then went and got people to build the ships while sitting on top of them, telling them what to do, and then training the sailors while reading a book about this is how we were going to do it, this are the maneuvers you need to learn, and drilling them like they were soldiers till they got it right.
Nice.
And effectively made them basically made like one of the best navies of any era. So a guy who would do analytics, I think so, right there.
Yeah.
And the main thing is while he's respected, like there are many historical accounts of where people were rebelling and they heard they were going to send Marcus Agrippa and went, okay, we'll play nice now. So there's the respect, but he's somebody who's always super loyal to Augustus. So he doesn't have a big ego himself. And Augustus very often got to go around the empire and look at problems and troubleshoot problems, and he stayed home at Rome and basically built it. Like everybody says, Augustus found a city in ruins and left it as a city in marble, but Agrippa, who built that marble, designed the project that built those aqueducts that were so famous. So the all-round coach, the guy who's builds the team, looks at the youth, see who's coming up, promotes people on merit because that's how he got there.
Yeah.
And yeah, somebody who could control egos, I think so, but also not like, I think a Gary Stead-like coach, if you see what I mean. So yeah, that was my pick for their coach.
Nice.
I think a certain orange-haired listener might be very happy with our picks for coach.
Maybe also upset with our versions of history, but we'll leave it there. I'm sure he'll be fine.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
So we'll go down the list again. So if we were to pick I'm just going to throw one out there because I think we have spares. If we were going to pick a 13th player as to make up the balance of bowlers, assuming we were at a very swingy pitch or a pitch that wasn't going to take turn, only was a one spinner lineup pitch, who would you have as your other as your other bowler? I'm going to put down here 12th man and just assume he's going to be a bowler because, that's how a sensible person picks their squad.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I've got a couple of options which originally were more I'd ruled them out of the fifth better one, and perhaps so they might actually fit better into the bowling stock, especially as a swing bowler. I think, and while I said before when I was in doubt I would go with the New Zealander, I think out of my options that I had at fifth, the New Zealander I had there was Mark Todd, and I don't quite see him as the swing bowler type that I sort of need to balance out my side. So would be a decent option. I think I'm going to go to your esports and go for MBL.
MBL?
Yeah. I think he's
super accurate. He'd be the super accurate and aggressive pace bowler.
Yeah, and to me, it's the sort that swings it both ways. As you say, super accurate. Has always got it pitched up in the right spot, and we'll get it to move no matter what.
Yep, absolutely. I like that pick. I definitely like that pick. MBL, and I'm surprised you didn't pick Hera. I've already picked an Age of Empires player, so I cannot pick Hera.
Oh, I don't mind Hera, but to me, Hera seems more of a line and length rhythm pace bowler as opposed to like I'm thinking I needed a bit more of a swing bowler. I've got out and out pacer. I've got two spinners. Got sort of the shorter ball with David Tour, but Blair to me, well, you know, he can swing it a little bit, but it's much more about line and length for him. The bits I'm missing is someone who can swing the ball both ways with reasonable pace. But it doesn't have to be the fastest. So yeah, MBL fits that mold for me better than here.
Yep, I like it. Now, so there was a thought in my head because I couldn't decide for my esport. In my head, I know I could have picked both, but because they're famous for playing two different esports, but I decided to only pick one esport person. But there was a choice between Boxer and Yellow Tanabe, the legendary StarCraft players from Korea.
Oh yeah.
Both of whom have ridiculous APMs. Or as I said, they're StarCraft players from Korea, and I could easily see them being fast bowlers, and I would see them more as the wily operator fast bowler, somebody who came in, bowled fast, accurate, but would just Yellow would be the guy who just bowled fast, accurate, and just bowled you the good line and length, and would just do one thing different to get you. Like Pat Cummins is ridiculously tall, but he bowls line and length. He's basically a faster Glenn McGrath.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So the Yellow Tanabe would be someone like that, I think. But Boxer would be the pace bowler who has all the tricks. The guy who comes up, bowls you a slower ball, bowls you the off cutter. He'd be like more the Sydney Barnes type, but a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Type bowler. But the other thing I realized is I hadn't picked a basketball player. If you had picked Irene Van Dyke, I was going to pick James Harden, who is also a volume scorer, a man who just finds any possible way to get points, and that's it, scoring runs. And the thing is, James Harden is a guy who gets you clutch points, just comes in and finds a way to find the basket from ridiculous positions, which to me is like getting wickets. Yeah. The guy who just a guy who's obsessed with analytics, just knows exactly where he has to be to get the ball into the net. Like he will just take 30 3-pointers and might score 20 of them in a game just because he's in the mood and gets in that zone. So that's the sort of bowler I'd see him be. And obviously that legendary Euro step just shows he's somebody who would just pull out tricks.
Yeah.
And as he's a left armer, so you can never have too many left arm bowlers in your team. So I'm going to go with James Harden as my 12th man. Also, he's got a giant beard, so,
Fair enough, Dave.
Beard power is beard power.
Beard power, you're correct.
Beard vectors are important.
Yeah. I think we've got pretty solid teams there.
I think so. So let's have a rundown. Your team reads as opening with Roger Federer and Tiger Woods, with Sir Peter Blake, who's your captain, coming in at first drop.
Yep.
Your number 4 is Winton Rufer, followed by Daniel Carter at number 5.
Yep.
The great Blair Hopping at number 6. Mr. New Zealand Softball, Mark Sorensen at number 7. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels at number 8 as your leg spinner, and probably the leg spinner who bats a bit by the looks of it. Stacey Jones is your other leg spinner, so you going with the two Y League operators as your spinners. You've got the fast Ayrton Senna as one of your pace bowlers, and David Tua, who's left arm, to be the hard-hitting pace bowler.
Yeah.
So you're going with one guy who's fast, one guy who's strong, and your 12th man is MBL, who would just get who you see as being a guy who could swing the ball either way, do all the variations that you need, your slower ball, your off cutters, your leg cutters, just have everything in his pocket, but stay disciplined and know exactly which one to use when.
Yeah.
And obviously the great Julius Caesar as your coach. Can't go much further right than that, I think. A great pick. He'd be beating the Gold Test team in no time.
Yeah.
I have gone with Lisa Carrington and N'Golo Kante as my two openers. Kelly Slater as my number 3. Irene Van Dyke as my number 4. Tom Brady, who's also going to be my team captain, at number 5. The Ole Einar Bjorndalen as my all-rounder. George Gregan, former Wallabies captain, as my wicketkeeper. Serena Williams would be my first pace bowler. As I said, she's going to be my all-conditions bowler, just the leader of the bowling attack.
Yeah.
Just setting the tone for the bowling. Then our first spinner would be Viper, and I think he would be a wrist leg spinner just because he uses his wrist a lot as a e-sport guy, especially as an Age of Empires player. Just accurate legs management just transfers over to being this accurate, demanding leg spinner who just pulls out tricks out of nowhere. Then I had Randy Johnson as my left-handed pace bowler, just the guy who has the arm, just bowls really, really fast, is really, really aggressive, and is just that all and can also get the ball to swing late to so this would be like an all-package left arm bowler. And finally, for my second spinner, I had Gary Kasparov, and I decided he is going to be an off spinner because, he uses his fingers to pick up the chess pieces, doesn't he?
Fair enough.
And that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So he'd be the right-handed off spinner to go with Viper's right-handed leg spinner.
Yeah. And
my coach was going to be the man Julius Caesar thought was awesome, who is Marcus Agrippa.
Yeah.
And my 12th man was going to be James Harden, who is just a scorer par excellence, but I decided he's also a clutch scorer par excellence, somebody who would just get you wickets when you needed it.
Yeah.
And also he's a left armer, can't go wrong with that, and giant beard.
You definitely can't go wrong there. I think there's two pretty solid teams. Doesn't seem to be a lot that in either. I can't fault too much with what your picks are, and your rationale is pretty solid. So.
Cool. Now, do we want to put this up? Maybe put it for a vote?
I think that'd be a good idea. I'll you send me through the list. Got my list. You send me through your list. I'll stick it up on the blog, but I'll post it into main chat here on Discord with a vote on it about who thinks in a theoretical match or test series who would come out top.
But yeah, good. That was fun.
That was fun.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have time for today. See you next time, everyone, and have a good day.
Catch you next time.